Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Vic here. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to rank the types of partners and influencers, the most popular ones like bloggers, social media influencers, YouTubers, and so on a ranking system from F to S tier with pros and cons to make sure that you can also learn about what kinds of partners are the best fit for your business, for your affiliate program, influencer program, and so on. So if you're looking to start an affiliate program or a partnership program, or if you've already started one and you're looking to start recruiting, this video will be perfect for you. So let's get into it. All right, so as you can see here, these are the types of partners that we are going to rank in this video. And I have all of them right here in a tier list that I created. So we have bloggers, podcasters, email marketers / newsletters, social media influencers. We're talking mostly about short form, and lastly, YouTubers as well. So we're going to rank these in this video. I'll show you guys the pros and cons. Before we jump and do right that, don't forget to subscribe for weekly uploads on how to grow your business using partnerships and affiliate. And let's get into it. So we'll start with bloggers, right? And here with bloggers, there is a variety of pros and cons. So firstly, in terms of the pros, it will be the fact that it will help you a lot with SEO. And how will that happen? Well, firstly, if you are partnering up with a blogger that has a good domain rating or good authority in rankings, that will really help with your authority as well, because they will backlink to your website, which will further help you rank in Google results. Now, secondly, is the fact that a lot of these guys create evergreen content. So what's evergreen content? Well, it's basically content that is relevant for a really long period of time. So that could be something like, let's say you're selling water bottles, for example, water bottles for cyclists. So in that case, it could be something like top water bottles for cyclists. Let's see. And as you can see here, we have Bike Radar, Cycling Weekly, this and that. So these articles, look, this one's posted in 2022. And it's still relevant 2 years later because people are still looking for water bottles for cyclists, and that is a really solid aspect when you're looking at the long-term aspect of this. Now, another pro here is the fact that a lot of these guys create long-form content. So their content is not limited to a short post or anything like that. So what you can do with that is you can repurpose it, post it on your own social and content channels, which you can leverage for a longer period of time to make sure that you have content from the content that they're already creating. Now, there are a lot of more pros, but these are probably the most important ones that I wanted to highlight to you guys. Now, let's talk about the cons a little bit, and I will try to move this Loom box right here. Cool. So I can quickly go over the cons as well. So talking about the cons of bloggers and SEO publishers in general, well, the first one is that it takes a long time. So it can take a long time for these guys to index, to start to get traffic, this and that. So it's a long-term game. You don't instantly get them in your program. They post a blog and traffic comes through. That's something that you'll gotta wait on because they have to start ranking and so on. Now, you can also take a different approach where you're trying to insert yourself into an already popular article that they have, an already popular piece of content, and in that case, it may work way better for you. Now, another con is that obviously SEO is really saturated, so unless you get articles on, let's say, super niche blogs that will rank high for you, or you get articles on the super big publication like New York Times, Forbes, what else? Business Insider, this and that. We're talking about business here, but obviously if we're talking about e-com, you can think about reviewer.com, I believe, and obviously a lot more. Healthline, if you're talking about, you get the point. But in that case, you might get the ranking faster if you're going for the insertion in one of the current posts. So obviously, really love SEO bloggers and publishers. So for this one, I'm gonna give them a B tier for sure, because I feel like it's great for starting out. It's an amazing starting point. You usually can find directly the editor, so you can contact him and get in touch with the right person. So it's super easy to find. It's also super easy to onboard in most of the cases because they only need text materials and image materials, whereas video creators may need stuff like content and so on. So cool. Bloggers, we'll give it a B tier for now. Love the placement right there. If you guys are starting a program, you guys should definitely go for bloggers. All right, so the next one that we're going to talk about are social media influencers. And here we can mention stuff like short form creators on TikTok. We can talk about creators on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, so on. You get the point. We're talking about like shorter form content rather than the long form content that we'll talk about in the YouTubers segment. So love social media influencers. If you guys watched previous videos, you already know that I'm a huge fan of these types of affiliates and partners. And we're going to discuss the pros and cons of this right now, because I want you guys to understand how powerful these guys can be for your brand when you're starting out. So first off, generate buzz really quickly. So what that means is that they post a video, their audience instantly gets it. So different from the social media, from the SEO partners where the game is obviously longer term, but you essentially get buzz really quickly compared to the other types of partners that we'll discuss. Secondly, it's obviously way more connected, right? When you have the face of somebody talking, recommending a product, if the campaign and if the promotion is made right, and the influencer keeps that personal connection with your audience, is super, super valuable. Because when you're reading from a blog, most of the times it feels a lot more faceless. So I'm going to write it as personal connection with the audience, which is super, super valuable. So especially when you're going e-com, when you're going SaaS, B2C SaaS, in most of the cases, you'll see that like influencers can be super, super valuable. And they're usually easy to close as well, especially if you have a product that aligns with your audience. Now, also, visual appeal is also a big pro, right? So you'll have visual content of a person recommending your product, which is super valuable because then you can reuse it for paid ads campaigns, for content for your own brand, and so on. So that's another huge pro right there. You can turn a video promo from one of your influencers into a video testimonial, into an article, into a post on your social medias, this and that, into an ads campaign on Facebook, on YouTube, and so on. So that can be really, really valuable as well. So as you guys already know, I'm a huge fan of influencers. So now talking about the cons here, it can be short-lived. So we're talking about the lifetime of the content. Can be short-lived, but that's not necessarily the case in all of the times, because a lot of the times you have YouTubers creating tutorials around your product or brand. You have also, you can have them have like a how-to video. So let's say how to edit a video in Premiere Pro. That video will most likely become evergreen and rank high. Now, that's probably YouTubers in that case. But if we're talking about like social media short-form content, that usually is short-lived. So that's a big con right here when we're talking about social media influencers. But again, I think it's for sure worth a try, especially if you're trying to get that engagement and that traction fast. So another con is usually they will require upfront cost. So upfront cost right here. That's another con if you are a brand starting out. Now, that can be the case with all the other types of partners in this list as well. Upfront cost, and this is something that you guys have to keep in mind when you're starting partnerships, is that it can be the case with a lot of partners. So people just expect commission-based fully deals. That's like pretty dead in 2024. So you usually want to go for that kind of deal where it's upfront cost and commission. And if the product and the sponsorship makes sense, then you have to position yourself as like a money-making opportunity for that partner. So yeah, with all that said, pros and cons, honestly, I think these are one of the best that you guys can try. So I'm gonna put them in S tier for now. That might change later down the video, but I think S tier, well deserved. A tier or S tier. We'll see by the end of the video how that looks. So now let's move on to the next types of partners. All right. So next up, we'll have one of my favorite types of partners as well, which are YouTubers. So YouTubers here, you guys are definitely watching YouTube a lot. You guys already know that a bunch of these videos are sponsored. And why I love YouTubers so much is that because it combines the power of social media influencers, so the quick buzz that these guys can bring, and this already goes into the pros. So it combines the quick buzz with evergreen content. So we'll just write evergreen. And this is super, super powerful because when the video gets posted and can get recommended to the audience of that specific influencer or YouTuber in this case, and this also means that the video is a lot of times is evergreen. So for example, how to do an ollie, let's say, on a skateboard. If we search this on Google, the first result that pops up is a YouTube video. Same if we scroll a bit below, you'll see that a lot of these are YouTube videos. So what's awesome about this is that it will combine the fast buzz that an influencer can bring with the evergreen content, which is super valuable that we want as a brand, because a video that you get has to be relevant for a long period of time. Now, also, what I love about this partner type here is the fact that it combines audio plus visual. So again, great for content repurposing. If you want to turn those into your own content from that influencer, obviously super, super powerful. So yeah, I think in terms of the pros, we already touched on a few of these once we talked about the social media influencers as well. But in terms of the cons, is usually the fact that video content is a lot of times more expensive to produce. So the upfront costs could be higher in this case. So high upfront costs. And it's also the fact that it might require more assets from your end because the content production is more complex, right? So it may require demo videos, maybe special coupon codes and stuff like that, which are another hassle. But overall, I think the pros are definitely overtaking the cons here. So I love YouTubers. I'm definitely going into A tier for me in terms of the ranking for now. This may change though, because I do definitely consider them putting S tier as near to the influencers right there. But let's move on to the next partner type, and I see that I forgot to put it here, and it's super important, so I'll add it right now, which is podcasters. So podcasters, another really interesting partner type that I'm assuming you guys probably are not that familiar with, but the great thing about podcasting is, and why I also like it a lot as a partner type, is the fact that it can also help your personal brand as well. So you attending a podcast that resonates with your target audience, telling the story of the brand, talking about the product or the service that you're trying to sell, that's a super, super valuable thing as well. So it's combining the branding with personal brand as well. So it's branding plus personal brand. So now this can vary though, because you can attend a podcast, but you can also get strictly like a podcast sponsorship. And in that case, I wouldn't love that as much. I usually like when the founder goes on the specific platform, tells the story, does, I guess, talk with the podcast host and kind of walks through the brand together. But when we're talking about podcasts, another pro is that there's way less competition, right? So you don't see as many podcast episodes posted as you see blogs written, as you see videos posted. So let's say when we're talking about a skateboarding podcast, for example, they may be 1, 2, 3 max. But when we're talking about skateboarding blogs or YouTube channels, there's probably thousands of them. So I'm gonna write the low competition as another pro right here, which is definitely something you should consider. Like I said, you guys should try to go after all of these partner types and just trying to lay out the pros and cons and kind of rank them so you guys know who you should prioritize. And this may vary from brand to brand, so always keep that in mind. Now, also here as a pro, we have long form content again, which is always great because you can turn it into shorter pieces of content. So we have long form. And yeah, now let's talk about the cons here. So obviously lacking visuals, that could be another con if you would consider it, but that's not always the case because you could do a visual podcast as well. So that doesn't apply. That doesn't apply all the time. Also, smaller, more niche audience. So smaller audience, way more niche than the other partner types. Here you have a lot more options, obviously. So keep that in mind. But with that said, with podcasters, I think I'm going to go with a B tier probably because I honestly think that this is a super underrated partnership type. So that's where I'm going to place it for now. And I think I will move the bloggers in A tier as well because I feel like they definitely deserve it. They're kind of like the oldest type of affiliate / partner, so definitely go in there as well. Now, the last type that we're going to talk about is email marketers / newsletters. So basically getting your product or service promoted in an email list. All right, so let's talk about newsletter partners a bit because this is a type of partner that I don't see a lot of brands tackling and trying to target, which I think is super unfortunate because there are a lot of pros with these kinds of affiliates as well. So the first pro that I want to mention is that it's going directly through the inbox, which is super valuable because if you think about it, all of these brands, what they're trying to do is trying to collect emails, right? With this type of partnership, you already have the emails of the customers. You're going straight into their inbox. So we have here straight to the inbox, a straight to the inbox approach where you essentially don't have to collect the user's email. You already have it, the potential customer, right? Now, another pro here is that you have super easy to track KPIs. So you have open rates, click rates, and so on. Now, this applies to other other types of partners as well, but here you already know the audience that you're trying to reach in terms of the number, and it will be super easy to track. These are pretty much the cons that I could find, the pros that I could find, because unfortunately with this types of partners, there come a lot of cons as well. Which first one is that a lot of emails are super bloated nowadays, so inboxes are extremely bloated, so it's super tough to stand out. So I'll say tough to stand out. And also, this is a one-time thing, right? So that content is probably not going on internet. It's probably not going to be evergreen. So what I usually recommend you guys do with email marketers and newsletters, if you really like the audience that marketer or newsletter has, you do a recurring thing because the user will have to see your brand multiple times before they take action and purchase anything and so on. So these are pretty much the pros and cons with email marketers and newsletters. They're pretty straightforward type of partner. So with that, I'm thinking about putting them in C or in B, but I don't know actually. I like the fact that with podcasters you can repurpose content. So regardless, I'll put them in B because of the fact that their audience is a lot of the time super engaged. But this obviously depends on the newsletter. So this is pretty much the list. These can go in B or in C, but we'll leave them in B for now. It can vary though. This one's pretty much the list. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think about it. I will also leave you the takeaways here right now, so you have like a short form version of what I explained in this video. Right. So here you have it. Everything that I touched on in this video in like a few lines with the ranking, pros and cons. You guys make sure to check it out. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about my ranking. If you change anything, it's definitely not set in stone. So looking forward to catching you guys in the next video. Peace.